Today we're going to be covering one of the things that I see time and time again. We're going to go in depth, and this is exactly what's keeping you broke, and also why it is actually so fucking easy to make a shit ton of money online if you just avoid this one thing. And I beg you, because I see so many people, I literally am going to go on a rant because I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday, and he just like posted a comment that he got on his story where a dude was like, oh, this is so hard, there's no way this works because in Europe it was talking about like SMS blasting, and he was like sending a bunch of messages, and he's like, oh, in Europe this is not allowed because AI SMS blah 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 is illegal, XYZ. And I was just like, holy shit. And we talked about it, and we're like, this is the point of the video, by the way. We were talking about it, and I was like, dude, people are finding every single excuse and every single reason as to why something shouldn't work or why something is not going to work, instead of finding reasons as to why it will work. And it is insane to me. It's so mind-blowing how people are doing this, yet they don't even realize that they have given up before they have already started. And you have to avoid this. Otherwise, you're gonna fall into the same trap as everybody else, and that's why you're not making any money online, or why you can't see the success that you want to. It is actually crazy. Like, you don't notice that you do this because you do this subconsciously, and we all do to some extent. But realize that if we were all going based off of these statistics and legalities and all this bullshit nonsense, if we all did it because of this, then none of us would have made anything happen. You know why? Because you're out here saying, oh, I want to start a business XYZ, but then you come to the conclusion like, oh, but 90% of businesses fail. And then out of the 10% that exist, 90% of those shut down within the next 6 years, which means there's basically just like a very small percentage of business that actually become successful. So it's like, if you go based off of if you go based off of those statistics, you should never run a business to begin with. However, yet we are still here running a business and actually making it successful. Why? Because we're not tapping into those stupid ways of thinking. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be logical, look at stats and so on, but if you're not willing to take some sort of risk, you will never make anything happen. And that's the harsh truth. Like, I want to be dead ass with you. It is not easy. It is the harsh reality. But some of you really need to hear this harsh way of hearing it for you to actually do something about it. Because if you just stay and do the same thing you've been doing, nothing's going to change. If you do the same thing over and over again, expecting things to happen, it's not going to. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. You have to be able to change your situation and take a risk if you want to be able to see some sort of change in your life. And we were talking about this, and I was like, this is literally your competition, bro. The reason why you can actually make shit happen and why it is actually so easy is because 90% of your competition is thinking this way. And most people don't even start because they think this way. And even the ones that do give up so soon because they all think this way. It's crazy how much conviction can actually do wonders for your situation. It is hard to force conviction, with that being said. You can't really force it. You have to be kind of delusional if you do that, and that is sometimes a good thing as well. But if you, for whatever reason, just have 100% full-on conviction that something will work, chances are that it most likely will work, believe it or not. And the reason why is because half of the people, if not more, that do shit don't even believe in what they do. And I find myself guilty. I've done a bunch of shit and tested a bunch of things, which I kind of go into it with the sense of, this is probably not going to work, but I'm doing it anyway, just because I'm a tester. But there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm probably not going to become successful with this, but let me just try whatever. And then they just give up as soon as they face some sort of challenge. And that is literally your competition. Like, realize that. The reason why sorry for like getting frustrated and whatever, but there is so many bad and just shit business models and people. Like I remember back in the day when I was doing ecom, even like I'm not even doing talking about that or teaching it or anything, but several years ago I did that shit. And when I was like researching and looking at competitors, there were so many ass fucking websites, bro. Like so much painfully bad shit. And I'm just like, there's actually somebody who's made this. And that is your competition. So in reality, you think that there is a lot of people who are trying to do this and whatnot, but none of these guys have any conviction. If you can show up with an little bit more conviction than your average person and just try to fully be convinced that something will work, chances are that it most likely will. I see so many people literally giving up before they even started, giving every single excuse as to why something's not going to work. If you ever catch yourself thinking that way, you have to be able to rewire yourself in that state of mind as soon as possible. If you catch yourself giving excuses as to why something wouldn't work, look at all the best people in the world. Let's just do an example. Usain Bolt, when he ran the fucking world record 100 meter and 200 meter. Bro, do you think that he ever is going through his mind, nah, this is not possible. This is not possible. Of course not. All the odds are against the greatest people, dude. Every single odd, every single statistic is against these guys, yet they still prove it time and time again that it is fucking possible. And I'm not saying for you to like go and get a world record or be the richest man alive or whatever, but if these stats can be broken time and time again, and these are the fucking greatest of greatest stats, if they can be broken, you can break at least a part of that too. If a stat is like, oh, there's a very few percentage of people that are making $10,000 a month, okay, you can fucking go and break that small percentage. You don't want to be, this is also a different topic, but it's like you don't want to compare yourself to the average. Why the fuck are we comparing ourselves to the average? Who the fuck wants to be average? Nobody wants to be at the average line, so we should always be above average and then fucking compare ourselves to the rest of the people that are above average. It is insane to me, like when the average line is like this big, oh, anywhere from like $1,000 to $8,000 is like the average. Like, fuck, bro. If that's the average, is such a big line, I want to be above average, which is above 8K, right? That's who and when we start comparing ourselves. And then we go to the next level and the next and the next. And there's always levels to the levels. But dude, if you're comparing yourself to the averages, if you catch yourself ever just being like giving up before you've even started, if you come with excuses as to why shit doesn't work when you haven't even tried, if you hear about stuff and you're just giving reasons as to why it's gonna work, why it's not gonna work, X, Y, and Z, you're just being analytically stupid, bro. There's always gonna be stats and odds and shit against you. Like don't ever think you're going to do some crazy shit or be outside of the norm without breaking any sort of normal ass stat or odds. It's just like, of course the odds are against us. That's the whole point. If they weren't, everybody would have been rich. It's like if you want to make more money than your friends, you're gonna break some sort of odds. It's just how it is. And if you just keep comparing yourself to these odds and let those statistics and all this bullshit be the reason as to why you don't make shit happen, well then, dude, that's not even a fair reason to not do something. It is like, what are you expecting? Do you expect to make more money than your average person without breaking some sort of average odds? It's mind-blowing to me, yet people don't realize that they sell themselves short all the fucking time. What are we doing, bro? Like, you understand that you can't be outside of the norm without doing shit that is outside of the norm. I know we're talking about money and that's kind of my main thing because that's what I found good success in, but it's like, dude, how do you expect to make more money than the average person without doing shit that the average person isn't willing to do? How do you expect to make a shit ton of money with an AI agency if you're not even willing to cold call if you have no money? It's like, how are you expecting all these things if you're fucking not even doing the work? I'm sorry for getting pissed off and for getting frustrated and whatnot, but it's actually insane to me. Understand that these things have to be broken. You have to do shit that the average person is not willing to if you want to see any sort of progress. I hope that helps. If you want coaching, my link is down below. Besides that, I'll catch you guys next time. Take care.